GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. So here's the deal. We go live every weeknight at midnight because it's a good time to go live. There's nobody else on at this time frame, and ideally we can have a long format discussion each evening. If you're interested in doing that, check out the bottom of the screen. That's where we thank our Patreons, the people that make it possible for us to spend the time and the resources on projects like this one. So each night we go live. On Mondays, we talk about motivation for 2A projects, working with the software and the tools and the techniques and the people who create Second Amendment software. Tuesdays, we talk about 2A, talk about a state each week. We go into talk about a Second Amendment organization, an activist, other topics. On Wednesdays, we do our tactical quiz, where we have some fun. We take a look at a book about the Second Amendment, about guns, movies, that kind of thing. Thursdays is travel and training. We either talk about travel or training or both. We've been on the road for many years. We've gone to lots of classes and courses. We're interested in training, so talk about those topics on Thursday. And then on Friday, we look back at the week and the stuff that I've been watching throughout the week, archive it here on this description of the video here on YouTube. We're also going live on Twitch, so some of it gets archived on Twitch. I think they have a little bit smaller system over there. And then once it's all over, we take the audio from this file or the audio from this video and post it along with the rest of the Daily Gun Shows as the podcast on all the different platforms that are out there. Check them out and leave us some feedback. We take the video of this show and a couple of the other shows throughout the week, and we post those on the major and some of the not so major video hosting platforms. And we've been getting quite a bit of feedback from those platforms. So thank you for that. Thanks to the people that watch and listen out there after the fact. We also write this stuff all down. So we're screen sharing here, and we keep about a third to a quarter of the screen to the comments that are coming in live, to the people that stay up till midnight Eastern, 9 o'clock on the West Coast. And we leave the comments open so we can interact with those folks. In fact, Krabby Turtle is out there saying good evening. Good evening. And we take the description of this video. In fact, we're not going to look at this. We're going to head over to the blog version of it, which I guess I didn't link to. But what we've got here, let's go look at the Substack one. We've got a Substack and we've got the newsletter. What does that mean? Well, the Substack is basically a blog. Substack is a system that lets you create blogs and then distribute the information on that blog. Sort of like a combination between a blog and a newsletter. Is there somebody shooting off fireworks? Why are you over here? My dog came up to say hello. There's Wesley, you and Krabby Turtle. It depends on which side you're on, I guess. We broadcast this on 2 different channels and thing, but we got people showing up and saying hello. So we do the Substack, and then we also do the newsletter. So I don't really want to look at the Substack either. So let's go grab the Patreon one, and we'll watch, or we're going to check it out on our other blog, the Patreon blog. So that way we get it out there. What we're trying to do is get the information that is focused on 2A out to as many platforms as possible. That's why we're explaining all this, or I'm explaining all this, is that there's a lot of good stuff that happens throughout the week, and often, it gets watched by some people, and there's a lot of stuff out there. So it's going to get missed by quite a few people, right? Like unintentionally. It's just, there's a lot of stuff out there. So now we're taking a look at our Patreon thing here. And I like this one a little bit better because I spend more time on it. For one, we accumulate the data over on YouTube throughout the week, and then I take that data and I move it over to Patreon so that I can format it and I can add the images and stuff like that to make it a little easier to read. Now, what we do have over here on YouTube for the live show is a poll. So if you're watching live, feel free to vote in the poll. We've got 3 votes so far for how was this week for 2A, and all 3 votes are just good. Not great, but good. Let's listen to the show and see if you change your mind, because I think this is a pretty good week for 2A. All right, so we're going to go take a look at the Patreon blog. Like I said, it's a lot easier, more pleasant for the eyes, let's say. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit so it's even easier to see. And the first couple of things that I post are obviously a little bit of focus on the week, right? A little bit of reflection on the actual week, and then we dig into the links and things like that. But at this one, I added the Substack link and the newsletter. So we also send all this information out as a newsletter. We've been doing that for a long, long time. We have about 400 people that subscribe to the newsletter. Somewhere between 200 and 300 will open it. And then, again, the goal here is to get information out there that gives people information, right? So like to distribute the information that's good instead of trying to recreate it or just say it again. What we do is we send it all out to the folks that are interested. So you can subscribe to the newsletter, you can head over to that Substack, or you can watch the YouTube videos or listen to it. I try to do this in a way that is usable for audio. So let me know if I'm not doing that. But with that being said, let's dig in. So it's kind of a little bit of rambling here for the first couple of minutes. That lets people who are being alerted to the video, who are still awake, some time to arrive before we just dig right in. And I like to take a moment to talk about some of the ways that we distribute this, because again, our goal is to distribute the links here, not so much the content. Our content is focused on other people's content. So what we're trying to do is share the links. So these links that we're going to be talking about today will be shared on, I haven't counted them, but let's think about it. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all live, and then however many podcast platforms are there, iTunes, for example, Google, Stitcher, and Podbean. What am I missing? There's another big one. Oh, iHeartRadio. Then we send it out to Utreon and Rumble, as well as UTGTube and GunTube and GunStreamer. So that's going out to a couple of places, and then we've always done the newsletter, and then now the Substack is really the new one that we've added. So trying to get the links out there in the description of all those different posts. And Substack is basically the same thing, as you saw. It's the same thing as this Patreon blog. Let's dig in. We're going to be dealing with episode number 81 of this weekly 2A wrap-up. Somehow I figured that out. I thought I'd post it in here. It's episode 1340 of our Daily Gun Show. So we've been doing the Daily Gun Show since March, I think, of 2016. It's had lots of different formats over the years, and this is what we got right now. So let's dig in. Looking at the content that was focused on our Second Amendment throughout this week. First thing, I kind of have them in order for the most part. I try to put the best stuff, the most important stuff, the stuff with the most worth towards the top of the list. And then the stuff that's not less important, just the stuff that has maybe less to do with 2A and more to do with just the community and us hanging around and some of the other stuff towards the bottom. So it's all worth posting, otherwise we wouldn't include it. And let's dig in. So the first thing this week is the Brooke Cheney's project called Suicide Prevention Saturday. This week she talked about the phone number 211, which is a phone number that's nationwide, just like 911, except 211 should work from most phones. And it offers assistance for quite a few things that someone in need might require, including mental health help or assistance. So I thought that was pretty awesome. She did about a 15, 16-minute video there talking about 211 and how to use it. Definitely worth a couple of minutes to listen to, especially when we remember that most people are going to be have a problem with our property or our decisions to own property based off of the number of people that die from firearms, and they don't often look into that. They often get those numbers. They depend on, sources to give them that information. And if we take a look at the those numbers, 2 out of every 3, so 6 out of 10 firearms deaths are suicide. So they're including suicide to create the numbers to suggest that our property is dangerous. And one way to address that is not to challenge their perception of what is dangerous, but instead to offer to address the situation by creating suicide prevention awareness and access to mental health resources. And if people are truly interested in saving lives, you would think they'd be able to agree on that. Helping folks who are under times of stress, making poor decisions. And oftentimes it's as easy as a couple of strategies or having a couple of resources available to give that person an alternative during the time of stress. So kudos to Brooke for having a consistent, persistent attention on such an incredibly important aspect of our community that's overlooked by effectively everyone. You'll notice it's at the top of my list almost every week. It's that important. Most of the, well, not most, but a good chunk of the suicides are veterans. So we're not only helping our veteran community, we're helping the gun community with helping the whole community in general. So always one of the most important things that happens each week. A short, easy to watch video that adds to your toolbox ways to have more effective and useful conversations with both sides of the fence. A way to truly save lives through conversation and awareness. Brooke is awesome. She had a conversation this week that I forgot to put on here now that I'm thinking about this. So she had an interview with Armed and Feminine, Kellyanne, and both knowledgeable firearms instructors with experience, and I'll edit all this and add it later, but that was worth listening to as well. Okay, switching gears, if we look over to Gun Owners of America, who has only compromised once, so I don't respect them that much, but they do things occasionally that make me respect them, like this. I had to stop and drink some coffee because I will fall asleep. If you're out there, leave us some comments. Glad Krabby is out there. Wesley said, hey, Smeggy is showing up. G23, we're all cheating, but it's only being 9 o'clock out here. Welcome, everybody. And then Krabby Turtle saying hello to everybody out there. All right, so Gun Owners America, only compromised once. And this video is one of the best videos I've seen all year. There's a lot of stuff going on, and one thing that we shouldn't be neglectful of paying attention to is all the stupid registries and NICs and the background checks and all of that. So GOA, for some reason, decided to take the information that they've got and chop it up into 5 pieces and slowly distribute it over a series of weeks. And this is part 3 of a 5-part series. And in this one, the Minuteman Moment Guy does a pretty good job of describing the registry and why it's so bad and the heinous attributes or the heinous things that the registry creates. situations that the registry creates. So great video. And again, I think it's important with all the other stuff that's going on, that's urgent, to be able to do multiple things. If you got a Swiss Army knife or Swiss Army knife or a Leatherman multi-tool, did you get that because you can only do one thing at a time? Or do you have those kind of capable tools because you're capable of doing more than one thing at a time? As a community, we're definitely capable of doing multiple things at once. Removing bad law should be happening at the same time that we're defending against more bad laws being created. At the same time, we're enjoying ourselves and just living life. So it might be difficult and it might be challenging, but that's one of the things that we do is try to offer resources for that. So let's keep on. Next is Locked and Loaded did their show on the 4th. So, they didn't do it on the 4th of July, on the day before the 4th of July, which I guess is okay. And then they did it on the 4th, and it was a good show. A little bit over 2 hours. It was actually one of my a good example of them doing an awesome show. They've got a lot of video gamers that are joining them now that they've got their thousanding. But that's what it's all about, reaching out to multiple communities and bringing a focus on Second Amendment and what it protects to those other communities, and not just the exploitation of firearms or the juvenilization, is that a word? The dumbing down of guns for the non-gun people. That's always a danger, or at least it can be a danger when people are quote unquote reaching out, that they're just going to dumb it down and laugh at guns and make them a big joke. But they're definitely not doing that. And they're bringing more people to the arena of the gun conversation, because when they do these conversations on Sunday, the Locked and Loaded show, they do mention games and things that does come up. It's part of their stuff, but they're really focused on rights and Second Amendment topics. It's a pretty good show. Next up is Melissa visits Patriot Ordnance Factory in Arizona. So Dragon Man's daughter was down, I imagine, having a vacation, although it didn't really seem like a vacation. She was doing a lot of work. She had a trip, though, to Phoenix and the Phoenix area. She was posting a bunch of stuff on Instagram about it. And this video is her hanging out at the POF factory. It's awesome. Pretty neat to see the factory from a person who's unique in the industry, just Dragon Man's daughter. So nobody else in the industry is Dragon Man. And Dragon Man's got 2 daughters. One of them hangs out, runs the shop, helps with tours and stuff, runs the website and marketing and internet and that kind of thing, I suspect. And then at the same time runs her own class and as a concealed carry instructor. And has her own business as well. So doing a lot and then sharing it online with style and flair. And this was a trip that turned out to be even more, because there was some videos. So worth watching. They recently, they had, their mom died. Their mom passed. The Dragon Man's wife passed a while back. And recently was the anniversary of that and her birthday. It was this week. So visiting POF, where their father had passed, and the kids are keeping the company going. It was a pretty interesting, pretty emotional video. So anybody that says the community isn't full of human beings is probably just exploiting the community, probably just passersby here as a hobby. But the hobby is full of humans doing their thing and being real. So that's an awesome video. Next up is Jenny J, 1911, did a tour of a bullet company in Missouri. So kind of 2 different versions of a female YouTuber, female lady in the industry, going around and experiencing and sharing the industry in 2022. This wasn't possible. You couldn't just go take tours of factories. They would say ISO 9000. They would say airsoft copyrights. They would say it's our proprietary stuff. They would say, who are you? They would say, why should I do this? And now we've got people that are growing their channels that are helping industry and merging and blending and collaborating. It's awesome. This happened back in the day with payouts and with a lot of tit for tat. And we're seeing, well, it's probably still happening, but it's not exclusively that. That's always pleasant. We have a couple of series of videos that are with lawyers and the Second Amendment groups at a national level, explaining and recapping and summarizing and offering perspective on the craziness of the last couple of weeks. So to start off with, you get the FPC lawsuit. All right, I guess what you start off with is Craig doing morning coffee with Bill Sachs, the one guy, the one lawyer with all the tattoos from FPC, and they talk about what Bill's video was last week for about 18 minutes, kind of going over that again, and it's those 3 cases from Maryland, New York, and Hawaii. I forget where the third state is. In New Jersey, Maryland, and Hawaii. And about how those cases got returned back to the states to be reevaluated. And we've got quite a bit of, again, focus on that and perspective. So we get one from FPC, Craig talking to Bill Sachs. Then we get Washington lawyer guy doing 12 minutes on it. Then there was one, remember, from Armed Attorneys last week. And now there's this one. This Week in Guns is the We Like Shooting guy talking to Fudbusters guy for like more than an hour, kind of snarky millennial way. And then they went through a bunch of it. And actually there's some insight to be gleaned from this guy, the Fudbuster lawyer guy, if you can handle dealing with listening to it. A lot of people don't like listening to those, but if you can get past their style, there's a lot of good point in there, a lot of good content in there. All right, so let's go a little bit different, and a different podcast that did a different thing this week. So the Get Off My Lawn podcast from this Sandhills Media, he did a different podcast this week where he didn't have any guests or anything and just let people ask questions. That one was pretty interesting. I only got there for the end of that one. I think I was in somebody else's chat during it. I think it was I with Barbecue? I don't know if I was within Barbecue's chat or if it was somebody else's chat. Then you get the NFA going to get repealed, according to Jared. I think that video went up today, so we're going to be seeing probably a lot of more attention given to the cases that don't get all the way up, or the many cases that attempt to get all the way up. A lot of times those cases, I shouldn't say a lot of times, occasionally those cases would get kind of called out ahead of time. In other words, they kind of call their shots. They'd go, hey, we got this new case and it's a long shot, but here's what we're going to do with it. And then it wouldn't go anywhere. And then, you know, a little while later, you'd hear some other group or maybe the same group kind of do that again. Hey, here's the thing we're going to do. It may not be easy, but we're going to do this. Here we are. And then they would attempt it and nothing would happen. And they'd go silent again. So I think after this was probably, 2014-15 era, that was kind of happening more often. And then it kind of quit happening. And I'm guessing it's because they didn't get a lot of interest. A lot of people, unless there's a pressure against them, they're not going to be, really adamantly pro 2A. They're just going to be, they're pro 2A, but they're not going to run around about it. And then the other would be, oh man, I'm getting tired. All right, well, that's happening. So anyway, so Jared's posting this, and we'll see. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of different contenders. I guess I was saying back in the day, those contenders never saw the light of day, except for occasionally a researcher would mention all the cases that didn't happen, or when a successful case would happen in the thank you conversations or speeches, they would say, here's to all the ones that didn't make it. But because of the 24-hour news cycle and every YouTuber trying to chump every other YouTuber, we're probably going to hear about every single case. So who's to know which case is going to be the one that knocks down the NFA? But hold on to your internets. I suspect we're going to see quite a few contenders, because who wouldn't want to be the case that takes down the NFA? So if this is the one, it was the first one. If it's not, then, like I say, get ready to see a whole bunch of these. So this is the guy who wrote the picture of the plans to the lightning link on a piece of metal, and then they told him that was a machine gun, I guess. So that's the case we're talking about, I think. So next up, I was on a couple of chats this week. One of them was with G23 and Chris and G23 on Wednesday night, talking about AKs, and it was a pretty good one. Hopefully we'll do more on that, because there's definitely tons of stuff to do on the AK, talk about with the AK. Then I don't know if I have it in here or not, but I was also kind of helped out with AR 1776's video last night with Echo. We ended up talking about 7.62 ammo. So been a good week for AK-47 stuff. By the way, we do have I have my parts kit ending next week up at Pot of Gold Auction. So if you're an AK person, you want to grab a parts kit, it's pretty much a steal over there. We'll be going live tomorrow to check out some of the stuff that's going on up there, because we're going up there to film some of the different things that are going to be being auctioned. So check that out tomorrow. Next up is Barbecue doing his rip-off show. So the Almost Nightly Firearms Expo is the radioactive adolescent hamster, what were they? Kung Fu Hamsters rip-off comic of TMNT. For those of you who think let me see if I can find it. It was called, I think I might have a copy, Radioactive Adolescent black belt hamsters, excuse me. So it was adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, and it was an alt comic to the other one. Which one did I have? I don't remember him being that skinny. I thought they were fatter than this. But this would be the Barbecue's version of this show, kind of a rip-off version. So he started doing a new format, which is pretty decent. So you might want to check that out, instead of being the old rip-off show where he just completely ripped off this show. Now he does his own format. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I don't know about Wednesdays, I haven't listened to that show yet, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have a new format that explores different aspects of 2A. Pretty cool, worth checking out. That's on Guns and Barbecue channel. On the Foss channel, you have the overnight. I didn't stay up for this one, I don't think, because I was so tired, just like I'm tired right now. So I'm pretty sure I missed the overnight. Wait, did I hit the overnight? And I missed the mouse party. I think I was awake for the overnight. But obviously, if I'm yawning at 9:30 or whatever time it is, 9:30, it's tough for me to stay up for the overnight, even though it's only late night, as we all know. There's Gunmetal Guy checking in. Good evening. Hope everything's doing well for you over on that end of the internet. Next up, I can't remember if Gizzard or Foss or somebody posted this, and it's this funny video. $679,000 views in just a little while. Let's give you the first couple of minutes of the video if we don't get a giant commercial. Will we get a giant commercial with 300-something views? I would think so. But maybe not. Oh, no, we are getting a commercial. No, we're not.
Without any murders or violence, For thousands of years, humanity lived in peace, without any murders or violence at all. And then, firearms were invented by notorious business partners Bill Whippet and Cornelius Gunn. Personkind was instantly plunged into a horrifying hellscape of...
So it's the true facts about the origins of guns. And kind of funny, 788,000 views. So I guess people are digging it. We had Every Second Matters this week. So 679,000 views. Every Second Matters, 295,000 views. No, 295 views, period. All right, so we had a pretty good panel. Brooke showed up for a bit. Toby was there for a while. Regulars were there. And am I missing any other Second Amendment activist guests? I don't think so. Clover was there. Ghost jumped in for a bit. Echo was there, I think, for the entire time.
Weapon of war. I think maybe Toby alluded to
And
that
Smeggy.
a minute ago.
So pretty decent one, about 2 hours, and then we jumped out and had a decent after conversation as well. Let's see, then we had The Reload, is a newsletter blog that also does an hour-long podcast, and that comes out weekly. This week, they were doing Q&A on the Supreme Court decision, and actually this one, let's see, is this the one that got me interested in this discussion, or is it some other one? So I was listening to this video, The Reload Q&A on the Supreme Court.
On this week's episode,
And usually in the comments, I will leave a comment with something or another. So I go, oh, here we go. The guy was wearing a Big Sandy shirt. So I said, nice with the Big Sandy shirt. Very cool. Another interesting show. Thank you. However, I could not disagree more about watching violent incidents for new gun owners. That would be like having a new driver watch videos of car wrecks, and only the most outrageous and extreme ones at that, in order to learn how to drive. That kind of fear porn gets views online, but does more harm to the community at large than any good it offers. Because in the video, he had mentioned how awesome it is to watch these crimes as a new gun owner. And then he goes, he thinks that this place is that they're one of the best resources, that they show real world self-defense encounters and other training based off of them. It may be not as useful for someone who's just buying a gun for target or hunting or shooting, or target shooting or hunting. But if they're looking for home defense or especially concealed carry, then it's an indispensable resource. And then I go, well, we disagree about that. In my opinion, it's like watching car wrecks to learn how to drive. All you see is the worst situations and what failed. Not much to gain other than the burden of remembering a lot of stuff to not do in an emergency. And then I talked about Big Sandy. So anyway, so that was, I'm not going to change that guy's mind or nothing. But that got me thinking, because I've never liked watching criminals beat up regular good people as somehow call that training. Because all that is fear porn, and people like watching that for some reason, but it's not training. So then I went over to the community tab and posted a poll. So if you want to, here's the community tab over on our YouTube. You can also go answer the poll if you want, but we're going to take a look at the results right now. You want to have a chance to be part of the results. As you can see, I try to link to as many of these shows while they're live as possible. So the people that aren't actually paying attention while we're scrolling here, I went over to our YouTube channel while we're live here, and I went to the community tab of our YouTube channel, and I started to scroll back. And let me just take you on a list of the things that you're going to see on our community tab. The link to tomorrow's Pot of Gold auction preview show, a link to the live stream I was listening to before this from the Team House. Really awesome conversation. We'll probably talk a little bit about probably next week's. I didn't put it in this week's. A link to the conversation I had with Echo, AR Guns, and Hasbro a little earlier today. We had an AK chat today as well. A link to this show earlier today to let people know it's coming. A link to let people know it's Free Patch Friday and a picture there. The link to yesterday's show, so that was a post from yesterday. A post from yesterday letting people know about Barbecue Show. A post from yesterday letting people know about Sandhill Show, and a post from yesterday letting people know about that interview with Armed and Feminine and a Great Start Shooting School that I mentioned earlier that I forgot to put in here. A link to Thursday's Cape Gunworks show, a link to Wednesday's conversation with Chris and G23 that I mentioned earlier about AKs. I guess Warsaw Patriot was also in there. And then finally, the poll that I'm looking at. So for 2 days ago, that's how many posts you're going to get over on YouTube. Again, got 169,000 subscribers over there. If that's good for anything, it's to help promote useful Second Amendment focused content. So that's what I do with the channel. So the poll, though, was because I was curious. Do people think that watching fear porn is good for training? Or do people watch fear porn same reason people read the Inquirer, because they get some kind of weird satisfaction out of it? So I posted a poll and I said, I have a disagreement in the comment section. What's your take? I go, their point of view is watching videos of crimes take place is good for CCW training. My point of view is watching crimes take place is worthless and just gets views. Does more harm than good for regular folks, especially people new to guns and self-defense, but it gets good views and sells classes and products. So if watching the fail videos and fear porn work so well, I guess I added this, if they work so well for training, then why do no military or law enforcement curriculums include anything like that in their courses? And they never have, ever since movies have been invented. And why don't athletes watch other teams fail to learn how to win? For the same reasons. And then I got a couple of answers to that, but for the responses, 38% of people said watching people commit crimes and hurt people helps with CCW, and then 62% said crime videos get views, and views equal subs, and new people think that subs equal knowledge. And I think that's the real deal, is that you can get a lot of subs, especially if you post pictures of Americans being mean to each other, because guess what? People in other countries hate us. So they love to make fun of us, and they love to watch pictures of us, videos of us being mean to each other. They absolutely love it. And that gets a lot of views. And when people see a lot of views, they think people like me watch this video. People from my country watch this video. People who are learning watch this video, whatever they think, right? And they think that the person with a lot of views somehow knows something. But guess what? Boobs get views. So unless you think boobs know something, boobs don't necessarily have the best training advice. Unless it's, well, we'll get into all that. So little sidetrack there, but we did get about 3 to 2 voting in favor of that it's just fear porn. So let me know what you think. I think it's fear porn. I don't always agree with that guy on the reload, but he's holding his thing. I think a lot of people that like watching crimes, they really do think they're learning from that. Like, oh, here's the thing. Like, oh, here, like, look at that guy get clobbered, or look at the way that lady got beat up. I'm not going to get beat up like that. Therefore, I'm better than I was earlier. I think that's what people think, right? Oh, I'm not going to get beat up because I seen somebody else get beat up. I wish it was that easy. Let's see. So then we get the mouse party. Mention that. Happens on Wednesdays. No topic, just an opportunity for folks to get together and have some fun in a live conversation overnight in a late night environment. So for people that have a shift, third shift, people that are, stocking, cleaning, resetting, moving, transporting, doing all the stuff that happens at night, mouse party is available for you. We have a couple of different radio shows that I like to follow each week, and because of the holiday and everything being messed up, they're a little bit goofy this week. We had Gun Owners Radio, a show that happens in Southern California, did a show this week. Had Eye on the Target Radio out of Ohio, also had a show this week. Both of them will watch they both stream live. Their radio shows recorded on Sunday evenings, and they stream while the shows are live. They do watch the comments. Eye on the Target will sometimes react to the comments, but Gun Owners Radio is not really. They may comment on your comment, but they're not going to bring the comments into the show at all. And then you have Rapid Fire, which happened on a different day this week because of the holiday, and I forgot to put it in here. Patriot saying, how far down is the poll? It's quite a ways down. I just went through and was like noticing how far down it was. It was, I don't remember what it was after, but it was quite a few pages down, a couple of page downs probably. I just closed the window, otherwise I would know better. It was, let me jump back over real quick. If my internet will do anything real quick. Not complaining because it's working, but I am complaining because it's not been working real good. All right, so we're going to jump back into the show and what am I doing? I need to jump back into the channel eventually and jump over to the channel. Looks like we got a vote for Great Week, a couple of votes for Good Week, and now I can jump back over to the Community tab. Yeah, I'm already in there, so I'm letting you know now. So now if I scroll down, it'll be quite a bit down there. It'll be it's just after Chris from 740. So it'll be 2 days ago, and it's just after Chris from 740's post, or the post that I did saying Chris from 740 is live. All right, now back to Gun Owners Radio and Eye on the Target Radio, both broadcast live. And I was saying that Rapid Fire also happens usually on Wednesday afternoons. It happened on Thursday this week, and I just forgot to put it in here. This week was 4th of July, so we went live on, I forget what day anymore, earlier this week, went live and attempted to look at all the fireworks laws for the different states, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep during that chat. It got all sloppy and I fell asleep. And then I woke up in the morning and did the rest of it, and then posted a quick video to explain the different laws in the different states. For the most part, all the states are either good or bad, and then there's Massachusetts, which is the worst. But there are quite a few sources for that data, and none of them agree. So I had to kind of take my liberty, and it turns out from the video, from the comments coming in on the video, that my map is not accurate, that a couple of the states back east are in fact goofy as hell. But what am I supposed to do about it? I can't keep track of all those little tiny states. So next up is Ask Gun Questions. Each weekend on Saturdays, I invite Clover and Tony to join me to answer gun questions as old folks who have owned guns our whole lives. We each come from different backgrounds and locations and experiences, so we bring some different perspective to the table, but we're all gun owners. We all have a focus on Second Amendment, and we're all available on Saturday afternoons, and we get together and chat. I try to keep it at an hour. I think that video is like 2 hours, but I try to keep them to an hour if I can do it. I can't do it ever. Then on Sundays, just because I like going live every single day of the week, we go live and we talk about what happened over on Instagram. So very similar to what happens right here, except for I'm looking at Instagram because a whole different set of people are on Instagram. I follow different people over there. Different people do different things over there. It's much faster. Things can happen. Much more important things can happen on YouTube because there's room and space to do things over here. It's more useful on YouTube because things can be archived and found and presented, and they can stay permanent. Instagram is fairly useless, but the parts of it that are awesome is what I focus on Saturdays because there's some really good stuff over there. This was a good week also. It's almost always a good week, but this was a good one. It is Free Patch Friday. We did not get one order from the store that I'm aware of. Nothing beeped on my phone. So normally we say thanks to the people that ordered the stuff from the store. We send out free stuff. And when you do, thanks. That keeps us going. So we posted that at the end of this post. And I think we sent that out, or we sent this post out as a newsletter. If you want to join that, you can. We send that out on the Substack now. So if you don't want to have to wait for a newsletter in your mailbox, but you want to have some sort of a feed, depending on how you use the Substack, we're over there now. And the podcasts. So to this weekend, as I'm listening to G23, or I guess this is the last barbecue show, but as I'm listening to those radio shows I mentioned, that's usually when I pull the audio from these different daily gun shows, post them on the internet, and distribute them through the various podcasting platforms. So each weekend, you'll usually get a dump of all the good daily gun show podcasts. And like Every Second Matters, we'll take the audio of that because that's a decent show that has some use. We'll take the audio from a couple other videos if they're decent, and we'll include those as bonuses to the podcast tracks. And then, like I say, we'll take the video itself, we'll download it and post it on Utreon, on Rumble, and a couple of other of the general video platforms. But then also we take this weekly show and post it over on guntube.org. That is a gun-friendly video hosting platform focused on firearms and the Second Amendment, made by a gun owner in South Carolina, hosted in the United States for gun owners here in the United States. So it's a worthy platform to check out, guntube.org. And then we also post the shows over on UGE, Universal or Utah Gun Exchange. I got the hiccups. Utah Gun Exchange. I'm going to take some coffee here while I try to get rid of these hiccups. All right. I'm doing pretty good. It's only 47 minutes. So was this, I'm just talking real fast, or was this not a busy week? So I post the video version over on UGE Tube, which is a pretty awesome platform. In fact, we've been getting more and more comments from the folks over at UGE Tube. So thank you for that. It is good to know that it's useful posting these things on the various platforms. I'll mention again, I'm posting these things to get the word out on all these different shows. I mean, I could post anything, but the only thing I really post on all the platforms is this show. The idea is that if someone's going to listen to an hour's worth of Second Amendment stuff, let it be an index of all the best stuff, a table of contents of all the best stuff. Effectively, if you take the newsletters, so if you were to go over to our main website, for example, gun websites, right? Let's see what's the fastest way to get there. Go to our YouTube channel and just click on the website button. And you went down to the bottom of gun websites, whenever that opens up here for me. And we head down to the very bottom of it. You're going to find at the very bottom of every page on it, I think, actually, you're going to find our newsletter archive. Here's today's archive. Here's last week's. And when you click on that, you get all the different stuff that we talk about each week. So these are creating multiple instances of descriptions of all of these different projects and things that we focus on each week. So that's the goal, is to distribute it out there and get those links out for people to find on platforms that they might enjoy or may be comfortable with. So thanks to our Patreons. It doesn't really tell us on this version of the Patreon thing, but we're down to about 145 Patreons. Our goal would be to have something like 300, I think, to be able to do everything full time. So if you considered what we're doing here to be useful, I'm going to recommend, I'm going to encourage and challenge you to take $20 a month, $20 if it's in your budget, and head over to Patreon. It's a pretty stable platform. I can tell you I've been using it for a while, and they're awesome. I'm gun websites over there, so they're not anti-gun or anything. Take that $20 and throw $5 at us. Put $5 as a Patreon over here by us. We appreciate that. That'll help us to do what we're doing. And then you've got $15, and we're going to encourage you to check out other projects over on Patreon, give $1 here, $2 there, $5 here, however it is you want to divvy that up, and maybe even shuffle that around. Somebody's doing something you like, somebody's doing something more interesting, or somebody stops doing something, move it around or set it down and watch it set. And maybe 5 months later, you'll have spent $100 on the creation of Second Amendment content. And let me know what you think, if that was worth the investment in our future. Because really, that's what we've got, a bunch of part-time, amateur individuals fighting for our Second Amendment. There's a very few permanent, full-time employees of the national level organizations. There must be a few full-time employees of part-time or of the state level organizations, but for the most part, most of the Second Amendment advocates that are doing the most are on their spare time, using their own money, and doing this on their vacation time from their full-time job. So with that being said, Patreon gives us a potential future where our Second Amendment advocates are full-time and funded by the community. And how difficult would that be for a Bloomberg to compete with? Right now, it's pretty simple to stress out the activists until they can no longer do their thing, to stress out those that are supporting the activists so that they can no longer do their thing. And, that's where we're at. So if you're interested in trying that out and you got $20 in your budget to try it with, give it a try. Let me know what you think. We would certainly appreciate it. By then, you'll have given us something like $50, and that will go quite a ways to help us do what we do and continue to grow. All right, with that, nobody's really saying anything tonight, so thanks to Patriot for being out there live, and Gunmetal Guy. Everybody else just kind of said hello, I think, and tapped in and out. I'm going to tell Firefox to quit bugging me about that update. And if anybody else is out there, feel free to say hey. Otherwise, I'll start wrapping it up. We'll be well within an hour this week. If you'd like to join us live, if you're listening to this in one of those places I mentioned, leave us some comments, and feel free to ask questions or comments or concerns you might have. You can always check it out over on Patreon. I don't think you need to be a member of Patreon to leave a comment over there. Actually, you might have to be, because it is a platform. It is a place. In fact, I'm thinking on all platforms you're going to need to be signed in. I don't think you need to pay nothing. You just have to be signed in. So you'd have to create an account in order to post. But feel free to post, or post on one of the platforms you are already signed in on. Like I say, we are on all of them, and we follow or at least we monitor the comments on all of them. With that, we'll be back tomorrow to do Ask Gun questions. We'll have a special episode of the Pot of Gold auction previews. We'll be going up and checking out some of the stuff at Pot of Gold soon. So stay tuned for lots of videos, show and tell, looking at some of the different cool stuff that'll be going at auction up there. All right. So with that, thanks again. Massachusetts is worse. They are worst on fireworks for sure, but not necessarily on everything else, except for being able to be easy to pronounce. Okay. Well, with that, I think we've said hey to everybody. DJ jumped in at the last minute and threw down some links. Do appreciate that. And thank you for DJ for posting links on other people's chats. It is much appreciated. We will be back to pick you up later. GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
This episode, nobody beats the house.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching GunWebsites.com. Do 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 do.
Instead of trying to type all that, if you're still listening, Patriot, if you do sign up for the newsletter, let me know how it works on your readers and stuff. I'd be curious. All right. Thanks, everybody.